Is the DGD Podcast. Go Dogs.
One Team Media.
Welcome to the DGD Podcast, the Georgia Bulldogs podcast for dogs.
From the gun again on first down. Fires wide. Juan Daniels. Touchdown, Georgia.
This is your favorite receiver, Juan Daniels, and you're listening to the DGD Podcast with my man, Robert Reynolds. Go Dogs.
Welcome to this episode of the DGD Podcast. As always, the NCDGD himself, Robert Reynolds. Big day today, and first and foremost, I'm going to bring on a recent partner here, a recent sponsor, La Touraine Watches. Dave, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on.
Absolutely. Look, if you're watching this show, I have some new La Touraine gear here. The glasses, love these shades, dark even inside right now. I'm going to take them off eventually, I promise. But definitely love the look, and it feels comfortable on your face. I have a big head, so definitely comfortable in my face. And also rocking the Legacy right here. I don't know if anybody can see it. Oh, there we go. Very sleek watch. But look, I want to take some time here. Obviously, just became sponsor for the DGD Podcast. So I wanted to bring you on and let people know about La Touraine, what La Touraine is about, the products that you offer, things like that. Everything about La Touraine, it may not be a name that you're familiar with, but I think it should become a name that you're familiar with. So, Dave, I'm going to let you take it away. Tell us what La Touraine is about.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And hello to everyone. So La Touraine is the watch brand. It's one of the ones that, I started about 3 years ago now, really trying to find value in what people are buying. The current watches that are out there in the price range that we sell in, I found some things that I liked, didn't like, and I've always been a watch collector. And as part of that, I wanted to do something myself. And so taking a look at what else was out there, taking a look at what I personally liked, having owned and collecting watches now for a while, started to make my own. And as part of that, started to figure out what specifications would work best, what features people love, what designs people like, what style they like. The Legacy on your wrist right now was actually the second version of a watch that I initially had at launch of the brand, where we got customer feedback on it, and we just kept improving it, kept working out, and now we have what you have on your wrist now. And so it's a labor of love, it's a dedication, and it's just really exciting for us because we're able to talk to so many people, talk to people like you yourself, talk to all of our customers. You just hear about how much they love the watches, hear about how much they love the sunglasses, we sell bracelets, some of the straps that we have. And it's just been such a fun journey. We have a lot planned. We want to continue to grow. And from just being a part of it, it's been really special seeing how, just stories people have about their watches, we think about where we've been in places, memories that we've had and like what we've worn, what we had in our wrist. And it's more than just telling time. It's more like an heirloom as well. You can pass down to your family and friends, and just really been exciting being a part of it all.
Absolutely. I'll tell you one thing. One of my favorite things so far, I just got the stuff in today. It's not really sunny here where I am right now, so it's kind of hard to really say just how good they are. But from the looks and how dark it was in here, I can only see how good they're going to be. I just have this feeling it's going to be pretty dark, and that's helpful for me. But the watches, man, look, genuine leather watch, right? The Legacy genuine leather. You can tell because it's tight fitting, right? You could tell. But one of the things that I'm going to be dealing with is, I can feel it. It's kind of loosening up. So really comfortable feel here. I know the red crest that I got as well. I love that clasp type feel to it as well. It's very comfortable. Both watches that I got. So I got the Legacy, I got the red crest, and both of them have this sleek face, and I love it. I'm not one for true extravagant type faces. That's just preference, right? But definitely sleek. If everybody has their own preference, but I'm in love with it so far, and can't wait to keep rocking it. Obviously, the glasses. Look, go to a Georgia game, even if it's daytime or nighttime, you still got them. And I love the piece right here, the red at the end, right? The red is going to be a nice little contrast for me. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to wearing this stuff. Look, if you're not familiar with the product, I highly suggest taking a look at the website. But there's some history behind the name La Touraine. Tell us more about that.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So when I was looking at starting my own watch company, it sounds kind of crazy to say that, right? But when I was looking to start my own watch company, I was looking through my family history, what we could use for a name, what the meaning of those names would be. And I went back to when my family first migrated to America. It was back in the 1880s. Actually, 1893 was the exact year. And they boarded on a cruise liner called the SS La Touraine. And that brought my great-grandparents over to America, where my entire family has been ever since. And it's just, that ship carried an entire family's like hopes and dreams on it. They were coming from Italy. They didn't have a ton of money. They came over to America, started an entirely new life for themselves. And now, my family, I just had my own son, and, it's just tradition carrying that forward. And that name symbolizes, new beginnings and hope. And as part of that, the watch names are tied to that. So we talk about legacy. Well, that's the legacy of generations of people being in this country. And it just goes on from that. It's truly like a family type of brand, family type of experience because of these things. And here's a nice little tidbit that I learned more about the SS La Touraine. It was a cruise liner from France, but it was also one of the ships that was trying to radio for help when the Titanic was sinking. It was actually on site there. And so it had a very good run for the 20 to 30 years it was in the ocean before, World War I. So it definitely has a lot of good vibes to it.
Absolutely. So for people watching the show, I've put a caption at the bottom for the website to La Touraine. Also, if you're listening here, it is basically La-Touraine, TOURAINE.com. And you can also find it on my website, DGDpodcast.com. Look for La Touraine in the navigation. If that's easier for you, it will get you to where you need to be. Just as obviously, as we're live here in the chat, people are, taking a definite look here and interest. So I'm glad to see the interest here. Talking about the La Touraine, right? I'm curious to see if it's in the movie Titanic. I need to go back and watch that movie. See if it's in there or mentioned. It'd be interesting to see. But definitely, I know you're based out of Charlotte, right? You're based out of Charlotte, so it's pretty nice to have ties, close by. Obviously, Charlotte. If you're a Georgia fan and you're listening, Charlotte's a prominent city that you're getting familiarized here September 4th as Georgia goes up and faces Clemson in Bank of America Stadium. But, so I know you started, with branding, right? That's always the hardest part, right? Is finding a name.
Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense with La Touraine. It brings us, to me, in my opinion, it brings us like elegance, right? The name alone kind of brings us elegance. And really it kind of shows and reflects through the products. Obviously, as recent as we've become the sponsors, or you've become the sponsor here, I'm already seeing the result of the elegance. But it's also for people that are interested in watches, it's a luxury style look, it's a luxury feel, you know what I mean? But it's definitely not a luxury price tag. And for somebody that that's blue collar type person that's working. It looks to me like just through the website, you've got these things for, black tie affairs. You've got, everyday type things. And I'm sure consistently and constantly on, new designs for all these different types of scenarios, right? Whether it be, your everyday, outdoors type, things like that. Or do you have anything in the works right now that people might be interested in kind of hearing?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So first of all, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And that was the whole point right? In my opinion, there are a lot of overpriced watches out there, and a lot of them don't have very good pieces to them, right? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring in quality at a lower price point. So if you look at that Legacy 2 that you're wearing, it has a Swiss movement in it. That's going to last you, the battery in that is going to last you a good 4 years. Whereas if you look at the price range, some of them are using movements that are, that have no name on them, just not very good. So I want to provide quality at a lower price point and the elegance of having a very nice watch that isn't going to break the bank, because people deserve nice things. And I want to make sure that they can afford them. And so, what I'm working on right now is to kind of fill out the rest of the collection. So we have a chronograph called the Compass. We have the Legacy 2, which is kind of a dressy, minimalist look. We have the red crest as well for that sleek, stylish, black tie event type look. We have a Navigator, which is our pilot watch, which is one of our first automatic watches. So it's a self-winding automatic. We have the Voyager 1893 collection, which is our top of the line flagship product. Currently sold out of those, but I'm trying to get more in stock. And what I'm working on now is a diver. It's going to be a diver watch. It's going to have that traditional diver look to it. It's going to allow you to basically take it with you anywhere. You won't have to worry about getting it wet. You won't have to worry about going to the beach with it, Wrightsville is popular here in North Carolina. You can get it underwater. You can get anything you want, and it'll be able to survive it. No questions asked. So really trying to just bring that quality. Yeah, really just trying to bring that quality and that dependability so that everyone knows that, I have this on my wrist. I don't have to worry about it. Leave the worrying to me in terms of, servicing or anything like that. You're good to go with one of our watches.
Absolutely. So if you're interested here, if you're on the website and you find something you're interested about, just want to throw this out here, use code DGD and you get 10% off your purchase site-wide. There's no restrictions there. So I noticed some of the comments here, so I just definitely wanted to throw that out there. Look, I used it as well just to test it out, guys. It works. So there's no, if you're hesitant, there you go. Look, you're supporting the DGD podcast. You're supporting a damn good product in La Touraine. Dave, I know you're not familiar or you're not versed in college football here, but we were talking offline. One of the things that I really noticed was with Charlotte, right? When you have these big games, Charlotte is a hectic place to be. So if you're listening and you're a Dog fan or a Clemson fan, whatever, prepare yourself, understand what you're getting into. Charlotte's a big city, right? Like, it's a lovely city. I love it. But definitely something you want to keep an eye out for. What are your preparation here, right? What are your preparation, for the September 4th, right? How's that going to be? I feel like it's going to be just ridiculous.
Oh, yeah. So I would recommend people show up the day before if you can. Parking is going to be at a premium. You're going to want to get as close to the stadium as you can from a walking perspective. You'll actually get to see the team buses going through the downtown. Charlotte would be called Uptown, but it's downtown. And
Yeah.
you'll see the team buses going through for each of the teams. There's plenty of places for you to sit and watch the game at if you can't get into the stadium. But be prepared. There's going to be a lot of people walking around. There's going to be a lot of people in the street, and the traffic is to get into the city will be backed up. So get there early and have a great time. You're going to love it.
Yeah, absolutely. With the game being as 100%, hopefully Mecklenburg County doesn't make any kind of changes there. I think the mask mandate is in effect there. So if you're listening in Georgia and you're making the trip up, stuff here to that. So definitely bring a mask. Jay asks why many selling their tickets, injuries, or masks. I honestly, Jay, I'm not entirely sure. Like I said, the mask mandate's in effect for Mecklenburg County. So do bring a mask. Haven't heard anything. I don't know, Dave, have you heard anything in regards to attendance on outdoor events or anything like that?
No, I haven't heard anything about the attendance, but the mask mandate went into effect actually Wednesday. So Now if you're going, you should bring one with you. Now, that's all I can really say about it. But I do know that there are several places around here that will provide them for you. I don't know if the stadium will, but if you go into, say, like a grocery store or some retail location, sometimes they'll have stands right in the front for you to grab a mask for free. So especially the restaurants that are around the stadium, I would think that they might have something should you run into that problem. Definitely
thinking about it, because I went to a couple NFL games there. There is a lot of bars / restaurants right around the stadium. So maybe that's something that they're preparing for. I don't know. It's going to bring a lot of revenue, like I said earlier. So Definitely would think that they'll be prepared. But also, like I said, Georgia fans, you're making that trip up. Look, it's a lot of money for these tickets. Want to make sure that you can actually get into the game. So, like I said, do it safe, be prepared, bring a mask. And Dave, look, I know you have a 12:30 here. So what I want to do here is just, let everybody know where they can find you. Obviously, LaTouraine.com or DGDpodcast.com to find the website. But where can they find you on social media if anybody has questions?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So I'm pretty frequent on Twitter, and that's just at _Touraine. Or if you want, you can check out our Instagram page. We've been really focusing hard on that, and that's La Touraine Watches on Instagram. And we have content up every single day that you might enjoy. So definitely check us out.
Absolutely. Hey, look, it was a pleasure having you on, obviously talking about La Touraine and our partnership together. So, look, anytime you want to come on, feel free. Look, if you got a new design you want to talk about it, let me know. I'll do like I said, I'm going to do my best to market it. But, as the owner, feel free to come on anytime you want.
Hey, anytime, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for letting me on. It's been great. And go Dogs.
Hey, go Dogs. All right. As I said, La Touraine, guys, you use code DGD for 10% off of your purchase site-wide. All right. Obviously, look, coming on to the situation where we have a lot of news to talk about Georgia Bulldogs, and it's important that everybody knows what's going on as we get ready for September 4th. There's a lot of questions, a lot of people here dealing with injuries, right? Most recently, Darnell Washington, Tyke Smith, and that's all the hype right now, considering those two marquee names. So definitely want to hear more about that right there. Kirby Smart had talked about, being day-to-day, looking at, the foot injuries that they're both having right now. You have to kind of take the coach's word, but there is some hesitancy, right, that, it may not be, that great of a feel to it. But Georgia fans shouldn't be worried. I mean, they should be worried, but they shouldn't be so worried because the depth that Todd Hartley has recruited behind Darnell Washington. Look, there's a name that people, if you're not familiar with, I highly suggest you do so immediately, and that's Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers, in my opinion, will cause problems, and it's basically going to be problems for the linebacking core for Clemson, and here's why. He has speed and route running that will cause fits for the middle of the field. And let's be honest here. I love what Clemson does defensively from their linebacking core, from a run game perspective. But when it comes to coverage, I feel like that's where you can find a soft spot in the Clemson defense, which is why I think you can seriously say that Brock Bowers might be a problem there. Also, losing Tyke Smith in the star position, there's a player called Latavius Brini. And if you're not familiar with him, go back to Cincinnati and watch the game. More than comfortable sitting there playing the star position, which like I said, I expect Tyke to take over in the star, most important spot on the defense. Brini played that well, very well last year. So I'm not as 100% concerned like everybody else that you can hear on social media, but it's definitely a concern because you want to be at 100%. You want to have your best guys available to play. And right now we don't have that. So I understand that there is some concern, but it's not the end of the world. It's really not. Also taking into what we've got at the running back position. A lot of people, it's so I myself have gotten carried away with this. Definitely carried away with how potent our offense is expected to be from a passing game standpoint. Don't forget, we're RBU for a reason, guys. We are RBU for a reason. That also means you have Zeus, James Cook, Kendall Milton, Kenny McIntosh, and Dejon Edwards all ready to go. And so I expect our running back room to have a big game as well. Let Clemson sit there and try to push 5 in the box. If you do that, our running backs are going to be able to run down your throat, and it's going to be easy. I look at Clemson's defensive line, and I really look at their ability to get to the quarterback, and from a pass rushing standpoint, that is their threat from the front 4. Really front 7, if you want to be honest with you. After that, I take into context what they try to run defensively. If they want to run and open the box, Georgia's got the running backs to do it. But I'm telling you right now, don't sleep on our running backs out of the backfield or put him in the slot against a linebacker or whatever the case may be. I think you might see that, and I think you look at guys like Kenny McIntosh, definitely is kind of one that has that blend where, from a defensive standpoint, if he's in the game, you don't really know what he's going to do. You can't tip your hat off, hey, it's a pass play. Hey, it's a run play. You don't know that with Kenny McIntosh in there. You don't really know about it with Kendall Milton either, but when you look at James Cook and Zamir White, looking from a passing standpoint, James Cook might be the best receiving running back we have, period, and there's no question about it. And Zeus is probably our true run threat. But if you watch G-Day, you saw a lot of passes going out to the wide or from the backfield. That right there opens up the idea that maybe Zeus goes out there and runs a bubble route. Maybe he goes out there in the slot and kind of does like a slant or something. Who knows, right? There's so many different options. Make our running backs become a threat in the pass game. It opens up eventually. It will open up plays, for guys like Jermaine Burton, or you look at Arik Gilbert if he arrives. I don't think he comes for this game, but it is what it is. You open up for Arian Smith. You take the top off, right? Keep teams coming down, crashing to you, and then you just beat them deep. I expect Arian Smith to have at least one big catch, maybe even a touchdown catch off of a long ball from JT. I expect that to happen. But all of this talk about running game and pass game and opportunities and potential here, it all stems on one question and one position, and that's the offensive line. And obviously with Warren Erickson having a hand injury, is he going to be ready, right? This is the big question. And if that, the question stems from that, what is our front 5 going to look like? What's it going to look like? You start to really get concerned about that. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be the end of the world. It's going to cause us some problems potentially because Clemson's front 4 is a tall task for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're Georgia, Alabama, they're going to cause problems. Front set, Miles Murphy, Brian Brzee, KJ Henry, those guys are going to cause problems. That's why experience matters here, guys. You look at Jamari Sawyer. Could Jamari Sawyer play center? It helps. It helps. And the reason why is because you have that experience to call the plays and set up, from an offensive standpoint, set the play. and the protection, right? You set the protection. You could move. I don't know. I don't think you see Mims on the outside at left tackle. But who knows? Maybe you look at Xavier Truss. Xavier Truss seems to have been having a great camp, right? A great camp. Maybe that's the move. Maybe you sit there and you put him in to start at left tackle. Look, I think that's more than capable of doing it for one game. Like I said, experience is going to matter here, guys. It really will matter, and it could be the deciding factor for who wins this game. Obviously, tons at stake here for this game in Charlotte. After that, our schedule kind of dies down significantly. On paper, there's not a lot of true threats here. I look at Kentucky as being a trap game per se. Florida, all the way down to Florida and Jacksonville. People look at that game, from a media standpoint, the mainstream media, you look at teams, so like, oh, Florida's going to be a problem, things like that. Look, if you've listened to me, you understand. I don't think Florida ends up nowhere close to the top. I think they finished fourth. Just trying to replicate the production that they lost is going to be too much to ask. You can't look at Emory Jones and feel comfortable, at least in my opinion. And this is me taking the red and black cap off, guys. Looking at that team, I don't know if Emory Jones has it in him to find and do they even have the talent at receiver? I know they got Copeland, Shorter. That's going to be interesting there. But I'm telling you, Kentucky, guys, Kentucky is the team to watch out for in the SEC East, because I think with Levis there, the Penn State transfer, being named the starter, I'm telling you right now, I think with Stoops there, they're going to have a passing game. And I've been saying this for months now. If Kentucky can get an established passing game, doesn't even have to be a great passing game. If they can move the ball and continue drives, that will be enough problem right there to have, potential upsets and cause enough noise to finish second. Now, look, they've got some legal stuff going on right now that they've got to get squared away, and who knows what kind of impact that's going to have. I want to talk to a Kentucky somebody that covers Kentucky, and find out exactly the impact of this, because, trying to look into the players, obviously we're a Georgia fan here, but nonetheless, maybe that's something that you have to keep an eye out for that could have a potential impact on that. I look at the game with Kentucky versus Missouri early in the season. I think whoever wins that game is going to finish second. I just see Florida's schedule really being too difficult for them to overcome as well, because, look, you bring in Alabama week 3, but you also bring in LSU, which with Max Johnson is going to be a way better team. Also looking into it, like I said, you played Georgia in Jacksonville. I think Georgia easily walks away with that game. I just really do. And this, just what Georgia brings back with what Florida is having to replace is just too much. Just too much. But then you could see Florida lose either one of the two games here between Mizzou or Kentucky. Looking at Kentucky and understanding what their defense is made of mauling front four on the defensive line. Big boys on the defensive line. Stingy secondary play, guys. They led the SEC in interceptions last year and takeaways. It went unnoticed, in my opinion. It should be very well stated that they did this. It's important to know that. But also looking at the situation where their linebacking corps, sure, they lost some people, but they brought back, or they're bringing in from the transfer portal, Jock Jones from Ole Miss. Ole Miss's leading tackler. Now, obviously, he played for Ole Miss. Ole Miss's defense is kind of thing, you know what I mean? But leading tackler is going to be a big deal anyway. That being said, I think Kentucky gives Emory Jones enough problems to where you might see Kentucky beat Florida. And that's already 3 or 4 losses there. So I just don't see Florida, they may finish third, in my opinion, at most. I think third. I have them finishing fourth, but, I think Kentucky and Mizzou might be your 2 and 3 outside of Georgia, obviously being at the top. I think our schedule, Georgia's schedule, guys, the SEC East in itself is kind of down, and it's a weird feeling, with Florida having to replace so much. New coaches at Kentucky, not Kentucky, but new faces, South Carolina, Tennessee. You look at Missouri with Eli. I think that's going to be a nice program. And it just takes a little bit of time, and we'll have to definitely see what Drinkwitz looks like in year 2. But what does this mean for Georgia? I think it gives Georgia the opportunity to, experiment on the offensive line throughout the season, right? Everybody understands the importance and significance of this first week game against Clemson. It feels like a must win for Georgia. Really, for both teams, it's a must win because of the playoff ramifications, right, and how it impacts the rest of your season. That being said, after Clemson, this gives Georgia the opportunity along the offensive line to experiment and find the right five, right? You look at Mount Mims. I think Mount Mims will be your left tackle before the season ends. You look at Owen, who's going to be your center, right? If Erickson, right? I think Erickson comes in and takes that center spot. But if you have Jamari Sawyer there, that gives you some time, right? To like I said, Jamari's a very smart kid and he's still a great leader on that offensive line. So you put him in there for Clemson, let Erickson get ready and don't rush him, right? Ratledge at right guard. You can slide Xavier Truss out to right tackle. Schaefer, or there's so many different options that we have after the Clemson game. It gives Matt Luke some time to sit here and experiment and find the right five, find the best positions for these guys, and provide the best product from an offensive line perspective for the Georgia football program. Looking at that right there, like I said, these are the big questions here, but also kind of rotate around to the defensive side of the ball. You look at the defensive side of the ball, obviously the questions with Tyke, how long is he going to be out, right? You hear day to day, who knows? Who knows? This is to find out. But it's not like Georgia doesn't have a lack of talent around the secondary. Like I said, Brainy playing star makes the most sense. I think he can actually cause problems for Justin Ross because he'll be in the slot. Tyke is a shorter run type, run defense type star, in my opinion. And watching some of the stuff at West Virginia, you saw how well he was to come in, willing he was to come down and run support. But what happens in against Clemson and Justin Ross? If Justin Ross comes out of the slot, that could definitely cause some problems for Georgia defense. And you take a guy like Latavius Brini, which is longer, he's more physical, like off the line, right? Making Justin Ross have to work and disrupt timing, things like that, could actually do us better against Clemson. Ultimately, I do want to see Tyke Smith take over that star position role. But look, this is a good problem to have. It's depth and quality depth at that, and it's honestly for Georgia, right, or teams that are going for a national title run and a serious national title run at that. It's something that you have to have because injuries are going to happen. Look, I understand the injury list that we're seeing right now with only a couple weeks before the game, but if you sit here and you look at the quality depth behind these guys, it definitely sucks. It definitely sucks seeing these guys on the injury report. I understand that. I'm not discrediting that. But what we have talent and extremely talented guys behind these guys that are ready to play. And I think Kirby is going to get all these guys ready to go. Like I said, Brock Bowers is going to be a problem. Obviously you look at Darian Kendrick. I think you have to start him. But look at Keely Ringo, Amir Speed. Amir Speed's waited his chance. He's waited around, got some reps, things like that. You could see Amir Speed take that role. You could see Keely Ringo take that role. That's the question here. Obviously, as camp rolls on, look, scrimmage tomorrow. Definitely kind of interested to see how this plays out. What happens with the injuries. Let's just hope that more injuries don't come of this. But we need to sit here and kind of play hard because that's just how we have to do if we want to win a title. So, looking at that right there, definitely think that it's something that we have to figure out. We have to let these guys get reps. I think you're going to see this kind of competition still play out. Obviously, especially in the cornerback, in the secondary, right? You have to. You look at guys like Ringo, like I said, elite talent. Nyland Green, there's so many names. But, is Amir Speed going to start beside Darian Kendrick? Or do you think that, Ringo starts? These are questions that we're going to have to see as the weeks come on, obviously towards September 4th, what happens? I think it's telling what happens come tomorrow at the scrimmage. So looking at that right there, I'm excited to see what happens at our scrimmage. I'm looking in comments here. Jay Shipe says Fitz will be a surprise of the game, and he very well could be. A lot of people sleep on him because we have Darnell Washington, but Fitz is a good damn receiver. He's a good tight end. He can block and and he's a good receiver. So he's kind of that overall all-around guy. And look, I understand when you have a guy like Darnell Washington, how you can kind of put him on the back burner. But this is where it comes back to, hey, quality depth, quality talent at these positions are going to be key. And obviously, if Darnell's not able to play in Clemson, against Clemson, I should say, then you look at Fitz and you look at Brock Bowers. So, it's a good thing to have. So definitely going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Obviously, as the season gets closer. Look, guys, we are 15 days away from this recording until the start of the season in Charlotte. I'm excited. I know you're excited, but definitely it's just still some things that Georgia has to get worked out here, and it's going to be interesting to see and what comes of it. But moving on to a different topic here, we're going to talk NIL. If you're not familiar with it, JT Daniels inks a deal with an autograph company, basically $100 per signature for exclusive 6 months, 6-month contract there. I thought I saw something about an analyst said that it potentially could be upwards of 7 figures, but also heard that JT had mentioned sharing half with the teammates. And if you listened to the show yesterday, you understand how big of a deal that is for the scope of NIL and what it means to college football. A lot of people, you don't hear about people sharing their money like that. So to me, first off, that shows the character of JT being a team player. To me, that speaks more than just football. That, obviously, you look at every kid has the opportunity now to make a profit and use their name, image, and likeness, with a chance to benefit from it. And as if you listened yesterday, you understand how I am an advocate for that. I want kids to have that opportunity, but doing it the right way. There's always going to be good and bad with something. You start to worry about how kids are going to get, kind of have a feel for this predatory type thing coming with NIL. That's why the compliance is so key here. But, kind of going back to JT Daniels, like I said, that is a team player if I've ever heard it. When you sit there and you can make that much money, but you're going to share half of it, the plan to share half of it it's just brilliance. And like I said, that speaks more than just what kind of football player he is. That's a true testament to his character, and I applaud that 100%. And also looking at some NIL, though, obviously he also got partnered with Zaxby's. I love my Chick-fil-A. I don't really like Zaxby's, but it's always cool to see, like I said, a fellow Georgia player getting those partnerships, things like that. So obviously JT getting that right there through Zaxby's. Also you look at, iconic brands. I'm going to give them a shout out. Look, if you're not familiar with the 7-6, familiarize yourself with 7-6, but also iconic brands. Several players created merch. Zeus, Kendall Milton, just a couple there. So definitely, looking at these guys taking their opportunities to profit off of it. And I can't be more happy to see these guys doing it well and getting the opportunity that they deserve. So I'm very excited to see what's going on there with NIL, but I definitely want to make sure that, I hope that, Kirby and whoever's, their marketing department, whoever it is, definitely want to make sure that they're staying on the same page here. Focus on football, focus on what how you got this opportunity before you make your money. So definitely, hopefully that the kids are doing it the right way. Like I said, I'm glad that they have that opportunity. Look, I want to sit here and take some time to reflect on this season so far. I know kind of transitioning here all over the place, it feels like. But look, this season has been insane. And we're so focused for September 4th, but there is a lot of things to go on here, and it starts tonight, and that is high school football, guys. Look, I know up here in North Carolina, you're looking at a couple big games that I'm kind of keeping my eye out for. Page and Dudley. Look, had Coach Anderson on earlier in a recent episode, talking about Dudley football. I had Grimsley versus Clayton, I think it is, with Coach Rigsby there. Everybody knows Travis Shaw, so definitely going to be interesting to see there. Jamal Jarrett is another name that you keep on. Hey, Terrell Anderson, guys, 2024 receiver, Terrell Anderson. I'm going to give him a shout-out because I do this for my local boys. Terrell Anderson is going to be a problem. I promise you that, and it's a name that I would suggest Georgia fans get familiar with. Right here in Grimsley, 6'3", going to be a problem. I'm just going to leave it there. Familiarize yourself with these names. Look, everybody knows Shaw, Jamal Jarrett, Terrell Anderson, Tamori Thompson. Look, if I had my way with it, Tamori Thompson, give my man, look, Jesus Christ, give him 3 extra inches of height, and this guy's getting looked at by Georgia, in my opinion. I love what he's about on the football, his product of work ethic, motor, perfect fit for Georgia. The height's not there. This is the sad part. This is the rough part about, recruiting and things like that. Size matters. I hate to say it, but size matters. But look, kid's going to go wherever he goes. It's going to be a situation where the coach that gets him is going to be happy. Let's just say that. So, let's kind of transition down into the state of Georgia. Look, Buford versus North Cobb and Jefferson versus Rabun County are probably 2 of the big name games down there this year, obviously from a Georgia standpoint. You look at Buford, right? Buford and North Cobb, there's so many there's so much D1 talent down there. But then obviously you look at Rabun versus Jefferson. You sit there, you have Malachi Starks for Jefferson, and obviously Gunnar Stockton for Rabun County. But look, I'm gonna take a little moment here to talk about Buford, right? There's somebody there. It's called Juan Daniels. And Juan Daniels, guys, remember, starting here, I'm going to make this announcement and keep bringing this up. Starting September 2nd, Juan Daniels on the show with me every episode doing a preview, review, basically the content, right? I'm just going to let you know now. But it's going to be a fun time. And like I said, I'm proud to have him on and looking forward to this 100% of the way. But what I'm going to do now, look, I'm going to end the show, but I'm going to stick around after this and do a little Q&A maybe. So with that being said, look, thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Daily Motion. Definitely listen wherever you get your podcast. Follow Apple Podcast. Give us a review, 5 stars preferred. Subscribe, you name it. Thanks for tuning in to the DGD Podcast. Go Dogs. All right, guys. This is, as Brandon Adams would say, and on video. And on video. I'm looking through the chat here. Going to do some Q&A. Looks like I'm just going to go through here. Tanil talking about some vaccination things. Jay Shipe says he loves a high motor. Look, keeping an eye on Tamori. Talking about Tamori here. Talking about Tamori, looking at what he brings to the table in the state title game. Look, state title game was a fun game to watch. There were some things that I saw from, Tamori that really stood out. And I think he would be a good player at the next level. But like I said, sometimes you get dealt a hand that you might not like. And if he was just a little bit taller, he'd be fine there. So, looking at that right there, I'm looking forward to seeing what Grims is about this year. Let's see. But yeah, no. So Jay Shipes, if you're in, all right, so you're in NC for 5 more days. Nice. Let's go back through the comments here. This is something new that I want to try out. It might be something that we could do moving forward. So bear with me here. So if you've got questions, shoot them out through the comments. Definitely willing to answer your questions for a little bit. Got 5 more minutes or so. So Positively Ole Miss. Hey, look, I'm gonna shout out Positively Ole Miss. Look, one team family, Positively Ole Miss. Go find them on YouTube. Also find them on Twitter, things like that. Great content about the Ole Miss program. Obviously, shout out there as one team family as well. Tanil says, thanks. Go Dogs. Go Dogs. So I guess for me here, looking into the situation though, I'm going to touch back on the schedule. Looking at the schedule, I'm concerned if we lose to Clemson because, obviously you look at the situation where we have to win. We have to win. And that's, I guess, to me, that's concerning because, well, if we don't win, then you have to play Alabama and have to hope that things happen there. Bryce Young definitely want to win out. That's the ultimate goal there. Let's see. Kind of scroll back and see what happened here. Also, look, I wanted to give another shout out again. I wanted to shout out La Touraine. Look, they have some great stuff. Great stuff. The glasses, they fit very comfortably on my face, and the watch is nice too. It's good product, stuff like that. Remember, use code DGD for 10% off your checkout and 10% off your purchase. If you want a great laugh about Ole Miss, Jay Shipe says YouTube Ned BTLS Ole Miss. Interesting. I have to check that out. I think that'd be interesting to see. Look, and when Jay says he also likes Ole Miss. So, I'm looking at Ole Miss, man. Matt Corral, I think that offense is – I still have questions about that defense, though. Looking at Ole Miss, if they have the offense that they can do that, right? I feel like it's the ultimate Big 12 team in the SEC because amazing offense, right? High-potent, high-powered offense. But the defense is a question there, and it's the cancer for that program if they can't get that squared away. Because I feel like if they get a good defense and they have a good product, they could easily push for the SEC West. Kiffin's highly underrated. It depends on how you look and what do you mean in regards to that? Because Jimbo's overrated. Yeah, kind of. I kind of agree with you there. It's going to be interesting to see what Texas A&M does with Haynes King if he is a starter. But Kiffin, I don't know if you could consider Kiffin underrated. He kind of fit the bill with what he does, and that's offense. We saw what happened at Tennessee with that 1 year of but when he was an analyst not an analyst, but he was OC at Bama. Bama had one of the most high-powered offenses. So I don't know if you consider him being underrated because of what he brings offensively, and I think that's his MO is offense. So, I see your point, but I just don't know if it's enough to, what do you mean by underrated? That might help answer validify the question or the comment that you made. But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with Texas A&M this year. Like with DeMarvin Leal, look, DeMarvin Leal and Spiller, if they have Haynes King there, I think they'll be just fine. Weidermeyer, right? They'll be fine. I just got to see if they can put it together. And look, if Jimbo can back up his talk against Alabama, we'll see what happens. Jay Shipe says it's like a crazy relationship with Kiffin, going to be fun but bad when it blows up. Yeah, that's what happens. Did it with Tennessee, did it with USC. It's just one of those things. Tanil thinks he's talking about BA as his thing. Maybe so. Maybe so. But now, is there any, I'm kind of looking around the SEC, though. If anybody listened to my SEC rankings, right, the preseason rankings, obviously some things may have changed. But, looking at some hot takes here, people, Kentucky finished in second, had a lot of people feeling some type of way. But look, I got LSU finishing second out west. And depending on how that goes, Max Johnson as a starter is a big deal. It really is a big deal. And I don't know how many people really pay attention to it. But definitely worth watching LSU. I think with Keishon Butte, look, they got Stingley and Ricks there in the corners. They've got a good team there in Baton Rouge. It's just going to be interesting to see if they can piece together and pull out wins. Let's see here. Kiffin was a late hire COVID season and still gave Bama. Oh, dude, he gave Alabama everything they could offer and then some. But there's no reason why that game should have been as high scoring as it was, because that also tells you that they didn't have their defense figured out whatsoever at all, Jay. So if they can get their defense set up and provide some sort of defense, Yeah, they can truly be a threat. I think you could definitely see them toward the top of the SEC West. Now, do I see them finishing above Bama? No. I think you could see second or third for sure. Ole Miss, depending on how things play out, could honestly be third or fourth. Maybe second. I'm not going to say they can't be, but definitely interested. West, so Jay Shipe says Bama at 1, LSU or Ole Miss or 2, 3, and then 4 A&M. Fair enough. I can see how it plays out that way. It's going to be interesting. Look, let's just be honest here. In the East, it's Georgia and then everybody else. But if for some reason we don't win the East this year, holy shit, man, I'd see everybody just crashing down hard, right? Definitely hard to deal with there. One more question. Let's see what happens here. I think that might be it, guys. Look, I'm going to call this show. Look, if y'all give me feedback on the live Q&A after the show ends. If you like it, might just start doing it more. Definitely something. Let's do this last one. Jay Shipes, I like Mizzou to beat A&M. Very hot take. Look, Mizzou might just do it, man. Mizzou might just do it. So I understand that it could be a hot take. But at the same time, look, it could definitely happen. Look, for anybody watching it, for watching the show, let me know what you think about this live QA session. If it's something that you like, let me know. If you don't like it, let me know. The only way I can do it is shoot me just go on the website or, just let me know, hit me up on social media. And if you're not familiar with it, look, find me at Twitter, Instagram, at the DGD Podcast. If it's something that y'all like, look, might find a way to introduce it to the show. But other than that, guys, look, I'm in the show and go Dogs.